Guys, I'm here for another tutorial with a pretty cool cave base located behind a waterfall. I tried to keep it short and simple for this one, so I hope you like it and have an easy time following it. The first thing you'll need is a semi-high hill located by a river. I found this one, and the seeds and coordinates are in the description if you want the exact same hill. So first off, just start by covering up all the holes and lakes or removing any small amounts of dirt. It's basically just terraforming to make the land look nicer. So I'm just going to cover up this small lake here and erase some mounds over by the river. The next step, you'll want to connect up your river to the base of your waterfall. So I just started by simply outlining where I wanted my pond and river to be, and then using this simple outline, I just dug one block down to mark out exactly where I wanted my river and pond are going to be. So I basically connected up the river to the mountain, and at the base of the mountain, I made a medium-sized pond where the waterfall is going to flow into. So once you have your outline, just dug one down, and the main goal for this is just to make it look like a natural river. So you can probably picture that and see what I'm doing here. Just digging down layer by layer just to make it look like a generated Minecraft river. So on the second layer, you just dig one layer further down, but leave some blocks on the sides, just natural river looking. If you look at a natural Minecraft river, you'll be able to see where I'm going with this. Now, I only went 3 layers down, but if your river is deeper, you can go as deep as you want or as light as you want. I thought 3 was a pretty good size, and it connected up with the natural river really well. Now grab some sand and start placing it at the bottom of the river. This makes it look more natural. And once you have sand all placed down everywhere, seagrass is super great too. It can be gathered with shears, and I'm going to place it at the bottom of my river too. Moving on to the pond part of the project, you really just need to do the same thing as we did in the river. Just dig down in layers and make it look like a natural pond. Just like the river, I started digging one layer down inside my outline. So just go a couple layers down, and when digging the pond deeper, you may run into stone. So just make sure you cover this up with some sand or some dirt, because you don't really want stone showing up. And yeah, in case you're wondering, I see the stupid black bar at the bottom of the screen. I'm sorry, I screwed up the recording. It was literally staring into my soul the whole time I was editing. But there's no way I was re-recording this, because this was about an hour of original recording. So just pretend it isn't there, okay? So in the pond, just make sure you place more sand in the pond just like you did in the river. And now it's time to fill up the pond and the river, so just make sure you go in layers from the bottom layer to the top so that all blocks are source blocks, because if you just start placing them at the top, it's not going to go well for you. None of the blocks are going to be source blocks. So just from the bottom to the top, make sure they're all in layers, and it should end up perfectly fine. There we go, and once you're finished with this step, the river should look super clean, and now you can place in your seagrass now that everything's underwater, and it should look like this so far, so looks pretty natural to me. And now moving on to the actual waterfall. Start by digging out a small path, not too deep, of where you want your water to flow. I wanted mine curved a little bit to the right up the mountain, so that's why I started with this path. Just make sure you just want the water to flow where you want it to, so that's why you have to dig a kind of little trench. And your waterfall probably won't flow perfectly, so be prepared to add some extra source blocks along the way down the mountain. I'll show you me doing that in a second. So there we go, punch out the hole where you would like the water, make sure everything's looking good, and add in the water. It flows down pretty well, but like I said, source blocks, just put them along the way places, and then you can just manipulate your waterfall to look as pretty as you like. There we go, now we're getting started. So now I'm adding a mix of stone and andesite blocks to the side of the waterfall. Made the stones a little bit higher than the waterfall to almost make it look like the water created a bit of a rut in the mountain. Let's just place these on either sides and make sure they're like kind of covering the base of the mountain. You can replace some of the dirt too, just to make it look all natural. Now I'm adding a mix of stone and andesite slabs to the sides of the waterfall to first make these rock features look more definite, and second, I'm going to kind of scatter them around the waterfall to look like smaller stones spread out. You just kind of sprinkle them around the waterfall. I thought it looked super pretty. There you go, it should look like this, and then you can go ahead and add some more around the waterfall just totally randomly. They don't have to be connected to any of the stones that you have. And when mixed with rock, stone buttons totally look like pebbles, so I literally just spam these all around the waterfall. I thought it added a lot, and I thought it also looked really cute with the buttons, because they look like pebbles. Now you can add in a couple of oak fences with lanterns for light and decorations. You can add some oak logs to either side too to look like old supports or something. I don't know, I thought this looked cool, almost looked like there used to be like something there. And I added some fences just to make it look like an old support. And even though we're not in a swamp for this tutorial, lily pads still look super pretty in the river or on the pond. Now, moving on to the dock, I'm adding a small one to the pond using oak, woods, logs, and slabs. So make sure your shore is wide enough, then place 3 slabs across at the water level and just drag that out as long as you would like. I think I made mine about 7 or 8 blocks long into the pond. Depends on how big your pond is, but you just want it relative to the size of the pond. No, one more. There we go, and then grab your oak logs, and then 1 block in, you're just going to stack it 4 blocks up. Enjoy me struggling to do that. Oh my goodness. And these are like almost like supports, and then you can just add some fences to the top of this. There we go, and super simple little dock. I added a boat with the shaders. It looks kind of weird, but just pretend the boat is not full of water. And it should look like this so far, so it's super good. I added a small crop field to the side, completely optional. I just thought it looked pretty. And now, moving on to the actual base. So I decided I wanted the entrance to my base at the top of the waterfall. You can do it at the top, you can do it at the middle, at the bottom, but I wanted it at the top, so I just dug a 2x2 block space as a little hallway just to start. And then I made it go down a couple layers because I realized if I dig out this whole base, we might be hitting the surface. So it just depends where your waterfall is located, but just pick a good area for this all. And now you're just going to get started digging out a huge cube. And I know it's not very natural looking, but just trust me. Just a huge cube. If you want your base bigger, dig a bigger cube. If you want your base smaller, dig a smaller area. And once you're done digging, it should look something like this, just a huge cube. And now you can go in, we're just going to make it more natural and organic. So add some stones to the side. As you can see, I'm trying to make it look like an actual cave here. So add some stones to the side, remove some stones from the other side. You can probably see my process. You could probably guess like where this is going. Just try and make it look pretty and natural. You can add some supports in places to the side. Just make it look like a normal cave. There you go, so I'm just digging out a little bit to the side and then adding a little bit to the corners. Add a little bit to the front. There we go, so now it's looking way more like a natural cave. So now we're going to start with the first little room, and this is going to be a bedroom slash furnace room. So same thing you kind of did with the big room, just dig out a little area and then just make it look natural and cute by taking some stones and removing some stones and just make sure it's in an organic type shape. Once you're done with it, you can make it as big as you want. I went for a kind of a smaller type room. And the next room is going to be a storage room. So this room does not have to be as organic. Actually, this one was really, really square the way I made it because I wanted some chests along the walls, and you can't really do that when the walls are curved. And the next step is going to be replacing all the dirt, andesite, no, not andesite, granite, and like diorite. You like andesite, we like andesite, and just get rid of all that because that stuff's gross. And now you can take some andesite and sprinkle it around. I think it looks really pretty when mixed in with the stone, so you can just put it all over your cave. And now grab some slabs, some stone slabs, and you can place them all around to make it look even more curved and even more natural cave-like almost. So I just put these all against the walls, coming up from the floor, coming down from the ceiling to make things look a lot nicer. And now I'm going to add some stairs just right up to the entrance. And moving on to this room, it's going to be a little bedroom, so 2 beds. I put a spruce with like a flower pot and just a little flower in it. And on the wall here, we're going to put some furnaces. This is basically going to be like your smoking room. I like the look where they're built into the wall here. I just thought it was really cool. And out in the main area, we're going to put an ender chest and a crafting table and just all those simple things that you kind of sort of need in a base. And moving on to the storage room, I dug 1 block into the walls and 1 block up so that the chest could open up there. And just place your chests. I have a specific order that I like to place them in. I always put smalls on the bottom and then larges on the top. And this room gives you plenty of storage. So of course chests on both sides of the room. I broke through here and there's a lake right there. So water spilled everywhere, but whatever. Just put the chest there. Hopefully you won't run into this problem. There we go, and the last part of the storage room was just going to be a little armor stand right here with some diamond armor on it. I thought that one looked super cool, and instead of keeping the lantern on the floor, place it somewhere on the ceiling. There we go, and that's the end of that room. And for the last but not least room, it's just going to be a little enchantment room. So of course, bookshelves all over the walls, and a little enchantment table in the middle. There we go, and for a couple last things, I just add some item frames with some cool items in it. I chose diamond ore, I just thought it matched the KV theme, but of course whatever item you want in your base you can choose. And the very last thing I did was just a light gray carpet. It matches the stone really well, but it also gives it a more homey feel. And there you go, that's the end of the base. So this is how it looks. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I thought this base idea was super cool. I love the idea of like living behind a waterfall in a little cave. I think it's really fun. I think the actual cave turned out really good too. I love the decoration stuff. So I hope you had a really easy time following this tutorial. I tried to make it easy like that. And thank you so much for watching and sticking around to this end. I hope you have a fun time building your base.